Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth and Alissa Diggs and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And Alissa, you saw Inside Out 2.
I did. It was really good.
I'll tell you, the first one is a classic. I can quote every bit of that movie. It's one of my top 10 favorite movies, and it's making a fortune at the box office. So we're going to unpack it because Inside Out is it's not just some kids movie. This has got things to offer to all of us. It's very thought-provoking and interesting. Something else we hope is going to be thought-provoking and interesting is the new M. Night Shyamalan movie Trap coming out, which Brandon refuses to watch any of the trailers, right?
I have this horrible thing where it's like if I watch an M. Night Shyamalan trailer, I see the twist before the movie even comes out.
Mm-hmm. That's
so
what
I'm like going, yep, I'm going to go see this. I don't want to see
but you
the
want to be
trailer.
surprised.
Right.
Well, we're going to talk about that in a bit, too, because I will say I've been fortunate in the past that some of the M. Night Shyamalan movies weren't ruined for me. I got totally twisted, like by The Village and things. But It's not just that. They don't rely just on that. He's done some great work, so we're gonna talk about that. I have something that I'm not going to share with you guys yet because you won't like it, but I'm going to do it later in the show. But, Max, you had something that you wanted to bring up before we get to any of our topics, right?
And it's what you might call...
And now, a legend in geekdom.
There we go.
This is going to be bad.
Okay.
This is going to be bad. Thank you, Brandon.
I think you guys will appreciate this. I know what it is, so...
I wanted to wish you all a very happy belated birthday to something very important to all of us. It is the anniversary of the Roswell incident.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's not a birthday, but it is... So... We're talking 1947, right?
47. It was actually it's UFO. It's one of two possible UFO days because the first UFO day actually occurred back in June 24, and that's because of the fact that Kenneth Arnold flew a plane near Mount Rainier and he spotted an unidentified flying object at a speed at about 1,200 miles per hour. And then here we have on July 2nd is the second disputed UFO day, because of the Roswell incident.
I got a question, and maybe you guys know this. In my mind, I blur Roswell and Area 51 together. How far apart are those?
Hundreds of miles.
Okay, but is it just because the landscape is the same or something?
Yeah, I was like, they're both in a desert.
It's a desert. It's a big empty spot. And Roswell, New Mexico actually never happened because it didn't happen in Roswell. That just happens to be the only city they could name anywhere near it.
Okay.
It is farmland. Something crashed. People found stuff.
It's time for people to know the truth, Alan. Alan was on a hunting expedition for his 75th birthday, and he accidentally shot down what he thought was a weather balloon.
Well,
but then little green men said, "You jerk."
And I get to throw Scott J. Carroll under the bus for this one.
Okay.
Because he is married to the Roswell incident.
What does that mean?
That means the lovely guy in the newspaper photos is a relative of Scott's wife.
Yeah. Really?
He was from Houma, Louisiana, and all of the interview shows go back, and yes.
So she grew up hearing this.
She is an integral part. Yes, a member of the Geek Tank family is an integral part of the Roswell incident.
Well, what do you guys okay.
I'm going to go ahead and say that
so she knows.
You just bringing this up, Max, is a deep dig towards lore that goes about Geek Tank's origins in and of themselves. And if anybody catches me out in public, ask me about it. I'm not telling that story on the air because I don't like the idea of possibly getting sued.
Okay.
So, if you see me out in public, go, Brandon, what do you have against UFOs?
Yeah, but I want to know what they have against you.
UFO? I don't know what you got. Okay,
I'll tell you off the air.
Okay. Well, the reason is because I feel like it's two different incidents. It's a UFO question, but it's also what the heck was this thing that they found? It's not just seeing something. There was physical evidence left behind.
They keep finding physical evidence.
And
it is not a closed case.
We just finished World War II, but now we're suddenly at the height of all these tensions with Russia. Mm-hmm. And I happen to know, because I've listened to some podcasts that that they were experimenting with saucer technology back then. If it's done correctly with centrifugal force and things, saucers they can fly. I mean, they're really aerodynamic, and
Zipping.
it's semicircular, but even that airplane in Indiana Jones wasn't too far of a stretch either in terms of like that sort of half saucer shape. Or think of the Sabre jets we were experimenting with. Suddenly we'd go from like Corsair planes and everything that have like a regular speed of an airplane, and then you have jets, which is a whole big revolution with regards to aerial technology.
I guess my question is Roswell kind of the Elvis of UFO phenomenon? In other words, it was like the first well-known one, and is that why it's popular, or is it because it left evidence and it left, you know what I mean?
I thought you were going to ask, is it that people kept seeing it over and over again after it was dead?
Well, that's not no. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, Elvis, if he wasn't the king of rock and roll, would we talk about him the same way as, well, of course I just think that there's something that's because there's been a lot of other UFO incidents. But
and I will correct you, Joe. Okay. Actually, the earlier UFO incident actually goes back to the 1600s, but that's a story for another day.
Well, what is it? So if I want to research it,
we can go back to the 12th century in Hindu texts, dude. How far back you want to go?
The 1600s.
I'm going to put it like this: if you guys want to use the Wayback Machine, we have this thing called internet content. You can do it.
Oh yeah.
All right, off the air, I want to know what it is, but what's it called? Do you know what the one from the 1600s is called?
Well, it involved a Puritan minister. Let's just put it that way.
And he saw
everything bad
weird
does.
Lights, and everything, or some. Okay,
an angel.
All right, I don't know. I mean, I think that stuff's interesting because.
Well, it is a fascinating topic that we are still debating to this very day, and makes up at least half of the History Channel's content.
I will say, though, I am going to call Roswell out because with all this worldwide fame, I've heard that their annual UFO festival is not all that impressive. They said the parade takes like 3 minutes. The celebration. I mean, we should be put in charge of organizing that.
It's 120 degrees in Roswell in December. Would you want to be out there that long?
Think what we could do with that material. We could come up with a great event for that.
You go right ahead.
I would love to.
You go right ahead.
If you're a Roswell community director, call us here at Geek Tank Radio, and we'll show you how to put on a festival.
That's true. We know how to do that.
But anyway, all right. Well, this is interesting. Allie went and saw a movie, Inside Out 2, and we're going
She spent money on a movie.
Allie went and saw a movie.
It was only $6.
And we're going to talk about it when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. Sharknado was an inside job. The Geek Patrol is back.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth and Alissa Diggs and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And we're about to get a report, a spoiler-free discussion, Alissa, about Inside Out 2. But Max, you just wanted to clarify something for our listeners, right?
March 1st, 1639, a Puritan minister by the name of John Winthrop describes the idea of a UFO sighting along this area called the Muddy River in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. It's described as a mysterious light that ran as swift as an arrow.
Okay, up in the sky. So because we did tease it, and if it's not right for the listeners to not know what we're talking about. So that's the UFO incident that goes way back. If you want to research it, jump on YouTube or Google and find out about it. But all right, so Alissa, I think we can figure out what the movie's about. However, the first one, I think we all agree, was a great movie. It's in my top 10 favorite movies, but Inside Out 2 seems like it's literally picking up right where this one left off.
Yeah.
Right? So,
I would say so.
All right. Well,
it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. I brought it up because we were speaking about movie theaters and how they were in a decline recently. But we went on Father's Day originally, and the theater was completely sold out. Not just for Inside Out, also every movie. We were like, well, okay, we can't see Inside Out 2. We'll just pick a movie. None of them were available unless we wanted to sit front row.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy.
When's the last time that's happened?
It's been a while, but I mean, it's Father's Day weekend. I get it.
Wait, Father's Day? I thought it came out just recently. Was it?
It was the beginning of June. Father's
Is
Day.
it?
Yeah.
Where have I been? Okay. Well, I did. The thing is, Alyssa, I'm definitely going to see this movie.
Stuck
but
in the 80s.
A grown man sitting in the theater by themselves watching Inside Out because my daughter doesn't want to go, or but
it was hard.
But I'm definitely going to watch it. Well, what? I mean, they had a pretty high bar to follow up the first one, but
I I felt like they did. She's, I think, about to turn 12, 13 or something like that. So she's going through puberty kind of, and like it's just she's like entering the next stage of her emotional growth as a child, and like more complex relationships with her friends and like the people around her and her parents, and like trying to please all those people while also pleasing herself, and like that journey that you take as a young person.
Now, none of us were teenage girls, Alissa. How did this hold up for your experience? Like, I mean,
felt like it was fairly accurate to like how some of those emotions feel when you first start feeling them. I cried a lot right at the beginning because I was thinking about my niece, who is like, she's 7, and so she's 8, so she's gonna start encountering some of these things, and even now, just hearing her talk about like her relationships with her friends is just like.
Right.
It's just so crazy and very emotional to see. Like, those are big feelings. Anxiety's scary. I don't remember the first time I felt anxious about something, but I haven't stopped since.
Yeah. So. What are so they added shyness. What are the ones they added?
So there's anxiety, jealousy, I think.
Yeah.
There's like blasé. I can't remember the exact name for it.
But
ennui. It's like ennui. It's like the French, which I loved ennui.
I had a feeling ennui was going to steal every scene, but okay.
And then there's like embarrassment, like shame, or like.
And jealousy's the little short green or the orange creature.
Her name's Envy.
Oh, Envy.
She's she's little and blue. The little orange one is anxiety, and that's played by Maya Hawke.
Okay, I think there's a lot of symbolism in there. The fact that Envy's very small and pet, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
she's just like a little whispering in the ears of like, oh, I need that now. I need to have that kind of hair, or I need to have that kind of thing.
I guess for me, what's interesting is the notion of when you because it really does get you thinking. It's not just her perspective. We think about our emotions and things when we watch the movie Inside Out, but I wonder if by thinking about it, if that's a good thing. Like if your 7-year-old niece watches it, is this going to help where she goes, okay, well, maybe this isn't the end of the world. Maybe I'm just having these these emotional things or something.
I think so. I think it helps a lot of parents get a dialogue too, to be able to talk to their kids about those feelings, because they can like point to like this character or this character, like here's a way to put a visual to those feelings you're feeling so you can communicate with me what you need.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating movie, and I'm glad they didn't ruin it, because they just basically stick to the same formula. Because
a little bit, yeah. It was similar, but like obviously again like a different trial and tribulation, and like Joy even has like character growth. Like even the original emotions are also still going through character arcs and growing with her as she grows, which I thought was really interesting.
So I don't want any spoilers, so I'm just going to ask you about the first movie. So what part did you cry at the first movie? My most tear-jerking part, I'll tell you, but go ahead.
Oh, gosh.
What's
all of it? Maybe, I don't know.
It's really emotional. What's the guy that Bebop or
Bing Bong?
Bing Bong when he dissolves.
Yeah, that was really
gosh, that was awful, but that's pretty gut wrenching. So
yeah, I loved Bing Bong.
Did you have any? Well, there's a lot of them too. There's just a lot of really good. It's funny that a Pixar movie can make you feel these things, but that just shows when a story's well done.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what the premise is. So,
or as Alan Rickman pointed out, oh look, they're experiencing acting.
Yeah.
All right, I hate to say it, but we pick on anime and cartoons and all that kind of stuff all the time, and the horrible fact is, some of the better movies, better dialogues, and best acting shows up, guess where?
Mm-hmm.
Animation.
Cartoons, animes, and other such. And, we talked about Memorial Weekend being an absolute, graveyard.
Right.
And it's kind of like, well, what movie was out? What did anybody actually want to see? And, and once again, Pixar proves they've got the vision.
Well, they went back to what worked. Cars is a masterpiece in my opinion. It's like the idea, as far as I could tell, was before you invest all this money in animating something, let's go through every square inch of that script and make sure it holds up before we do it. And I think that's the way you should make a movie. I'm amazed everybody doesn't make a movie that way. But
right. Yeah.
But Pixar really they do, and because they have these unique premises that they and somehow they hook us. But I can't wait to go see it. I guess it'll be on streaming soon. I have to believe.
Probably.
So.
Most likely.
All right. Well, there's more movies to talk about, and we're going to do it when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
As a jock, it is my duty to give nerds a hard time.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmsted and Alan Gilbreth and Alissa Diggs and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And we're going to talk about the new M. Night Shyamalan movie, Trap. We've seen the trailers. Brandon has not. He's probably seen little bits and pieces of images or something. But
I've seen a thumbnail for a trailer.
I guess the way I've heard it described is a Taylor Swift concert crossed with I don't even remember. There's some premise of basically
Buffalo Bill meets Taylor Swift.
It's something weird, but Silence of the Lambs at
Buffalo
a Taylor
Bill
Swift
meets
concert.
Taylor Swift. Yeah.
Okay, well let's just if you think about, I will say some of my favorite movies actually some of the older M. Night Shyamalan movies. I love The Village. I love Signs. I like The Sixth Sense. I even like that movie The Happening with Mark Wahlberg, but it seems like there was a period where he was just a hot director and everybody was just saying he's the next Alfred Hitchcock, and he's done some really unique things. I feel like he hit a little bit of a dry spell with some of his films, but this one, I don't know. What do you think, Allie? I mean, you're going to see this, right?
Yeah, I want to see it. I haven't watched the trailer for it yet, but I've seen a little bit more than Brandon has, because I think when I was on TikTok or something, I started to see the beginning of it, because when you described it, I was like, oh, that movie. Because I remember they were in an arena and it was like a thing, and I was like, what is happening? But I would like to see it. I haven't seen his last two movies, though, but because I heard
Old and something, and there's another one coming out right along
Old
with
is
it.
bad.
Yeah, I heard Old.
That's what I
wasn't
heard, so
very
I never went for it.
So what is it with him? I mean,
Okay, so
how does he have these duds along with these really almost masterpieces? But
I don't know. One might almost think he's human.
yeah, maybe because he tries stuff. Let's give him that.
Well, I mean, he
will try things. So
Well, it's like, I know that a lot of people give him grief for like The Lady in the Water, but I mean, this was a story he told his daughter. It was a bedtime story, and then they turned it into a movie.
Oh, sorry. Last Airbender was another dud.
yeah,
Last
although that was a
big-
passion project, right? Because he liked
No, last
He shouldn't have been
Last
let near it.
Airbender was a paycheck. It was not a passion project.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
It's like, if he had passion, it would maybe be better.
No,
If he cared about it at all.
Because you can't take an entire season of a TV show
And make it in a
and make it into an hour-and-a-half movie,
It was rough.
and without
Yeah.
cutting out the important things.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
I'm I'll go ahead and I'll pick on Harry Potter. It's like, honestly, guys, if you like Harry Potter for the movies, the best things happen in the books, and then we're completely cut out of those movies.
Yeah, I don't even like the movies, so but
There's so many things like that. But he'll go in there and he'll experiment. What was it, Devil, which is nobody even, because he was in such hot water with people because they were sick of him. They didn't even put his name on the poster.
Is that the one in the elevator?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Oh,
Don't
dude,
spoil it
It'll
because
mess with your brain. But it's just be prepared for a very slow burn movie.
Okay. Well, I mean, stuck in an elevator the whole movie. I don't know,
That's
but
pretty crazy.
but that's a risky premise, and he did it. I'll give him credit. He does take risks. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's the compliment to him is he tried. Yeah, let's just start with the words.
Well, yeah.
He tried. Boom. He writes his movies from the twist, forward and backwards.
Right.
So he comes up with whatever his mechanism's going to be, and he leads you up to it, and he finishes. And I love a good intellectual slow burn. I will freely also add that I can watch about 2 minutes of any Shyamalan night production, and I'm done.
What do you mean in terms of you figured it out?
I have already seen the entire rest of the movie in my head with about a 90% accuracy.
That's why I don't want to discuss the trap, because
And-
I don't want the twist.
And I
given
will
away.
freely tell Brandon, do not watch another trailer. I have a feeling it's going to be an awesome movie. Now, one thing I will give all of the night movies with very few misses He's had great chemistry on the screen with his people, letting them go a little into the weird. You got something hiding in the basement. All right, let people act like there's something freaking in the basement.
And you're right. And it is a lot of that stuff that causes his movies to not be good. And I'll even throw The Last Airbender up for this. Those characters, especially if you knew them already, how they interact with one another. The actors they had on screen had no chemistry with one another.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
You can tell they had just met.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things. I mean, if you're supposed to, if that's the way things are supposed to go, all right, cool. You chose your. But Signs, if it wasn't for the relationship between Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix and the little girl who I can't remember the actress's name.
She was great.
They felt like a real family. But if you had gotten three people who just did not, have that same feel, Signs wouldn't be anywhere near as good as it is, because he's able to get these performances from his actors. Bruce Willis doesn't interact with anybody but Haley Joel Osment through all of The Sixth Sense. But yet, even when he's standing there's chemistry that makes you feel he's supposed to be there, so that when the spoiler twist comes on, you are literally shocked.
Yeah, I mean, he gets these gut-wrenching performances even out of a kid actor. I mean, that there's got to be a talent for that.
Yeah.
In your casting and directing.
He's really good at that.
He is a truly master director at that. His plot twists are basically a rhino with a bow on it.
Yeah,
but
they come running.
I've been fooled by some of them, Alan. I have to say.
The only way you could get fooled by a night movie is if you want to be.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it is. I'm happy to be.
I give that as a full talent.
I think when
I got twisted by The Village. I didn't see that.
I didn't know The Sixth Sense was going to end that way.
I knew The Village's twist before it. I even went into the theater, but you get so entranced by the movie that when it hits, you're like, oh yeah. So it still feels like, oh. There's the twist.
I wonder if Deadpool's going to live through a Deadpool movie.
I know that you haven't seen it yet, Joe, but I'm a little leery to tell you to go see to see The Visit. If there's no,
that was a good one.
That's scary.
It was very scary. That was really scary.
Well, they have heart too, which is what I like. The Village was kind of creepy, but it has a lot of heart.
It really does.
It's not only relying on the twist. I think that's why those movies hold up for me, because you can watch it regardless of the twist. So, but hey, we have a little bit more love to shine on M. Night Shyamalan when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth, and our buddy and Alissa Diggs and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. If you're just tuning in, Allie has given us her report of Inside Out 2. We highly recommend it. Apparently, it's a hot ticket still. Get out there and see it with your whole family. We were talking before the break about, there's a new movie coming out from M. Night Shyamalan, Trap. There's another movie coming out of his. I don't know why they're doing two at once, but I'll just tell you this, you guys. I saw the trailer without knowing what it was. I just watched it. I'm saying, okay, Trap. I watched it, and as it unfolded, and then I found out it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, I was really drawn in. It's basically, they say, Silence of the Lambs and a Taylor Swift concert mixed together. But we were talking off the air about one of the reasons some of what he does really, really works, and why some of what he does, hasn't worked. But you were bringing up The Last Airbender as an example, but Brandon said that's more or less was a paycheck project, I guess, right?
I mean, he loves the property, but he has no, when you're directing something like that, you don't have the control that you have when you are the writer, director, creator, executive producer on something like he is on most of his other movies.
Oh, that's true. You got to stay in the lanes. You got to stay with whatever that material. That does limit you if you're creative.
And then a lot of times when you're doing a licensed property or even somebody else's property and you just been brought in to direct, you get corporate mandates.
That's true.
You have to use their casting director. You have to use their editors, their script supervisors, all that jazz. And again, you cannot put an entire, season of a anime or anime-esque project into one 90-minute movie.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
impossible.
good point. So, yep.
Well, and I'm going to pick on Netflix and all that a little bit for some of their seasons, because sometimes the first 2 or 3 shows of something, clearly the cast has not met.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You know, it's kind of like, okay, Alissa, in this scene, you and Max are going to have a deeply disturbing dinner over your dysfunctional parents. Oh, yeah, by the way, Alissa, Max,
Yeah.
Alissa.
Yeah.
Here, go sit down and do this dinner.
Yeah.
At least take you two out to Arby's and let you have a
Yeah.
sandwich together
Right.
Right.
before you try to produce an Oscar-winning performance.
Well, we mentioned this a few weeks back when we were talking about So Help Me Todd. You could
Yes.
tell in the first couple of episodes that these guys were just meeting and they're filling each other out. And then someone between episodes 3 and 4
oh, yeah.
threw a cast party.
Yep.
And they got to know each other.
Yeah.
Because the episode 4,
Yeah.
just watching the body language of the primaries
Yeah.
between 3 and 4,
There's like a comfortableness that wasn't there before.
there was
yeah.
more leaning and more facing and less camera block number 3.
Right.
More, hey, Brandon, how you doing? Let me
What's
tell you
going on,
what's
Alan?
going on, man. We got this,
I got pickle buckets, man.
it was a
Yeah.
thing, and it was just shocking.
Yeah.
And a lot of times on these movie sets, and Mr. Knight, I feel sorry for you when you don't get your way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs kind of free reign, it seems like. 'cause,
Apparently,
yeah.
for some of his movies, he needs, there needs to be a cast party or two, or there needs to be some team building events that get everybody together.
Well, if he has a gift, he understands chemistry, he understands creating emotional connections with your cast, which is cool, and that's why I'm looking forward to this new movie.
Well, let's face it, most movies on the absolute cusp of it are utterly and completely predictable, but that's not why we watch them.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're a movie maker out there and you think your big reveal is what got people there, I want you to take a lesson from Steven Spielberg, who shot a diving tank and it exploded. All right, if you shoot a diving tank, they don't explode.
Right.
Air comes out and it goes really fast the other way. The ending of Jaws was not a shark blowing up. It was a shark getting an air tank blowing out his rear end.
Yeah.
However, Steven looked at everybody and went, look, if you've stuck with me all the way to this point, you want to see that shark blow up.
Right.
And you know what? In spite of battling physics and basic understanding of how the world works, we all cheered when the shark blew up because that was the ending it needed.
Yeah.
Well, when you have good performances, you'll
yeah.
forgive a multitude
Except
of
those
sins.
of us who were Team Shark. I mean, hey, after
I
after-
was just,
that-
my
that is
God, they
his
wasted
house.
all that
here's
sushi,
the thing.
That's his home.
That's his home. And once the mayor decided not to close everything down, he basically fed everybody to it.
We should
Yep.
blow up the man.
Bruce got to eat everybody after that.
Didn't we celebrate a lot of we just celebrated the 4th of July. Isn't that when the Kintner boy got eaten by the shark? And
Yeah.
We're hearing a lot about Jaws, but,
Thanks,
but the,
Mayor.
the
dude.
anniversary isn't until next year. Why are we hearing so much about it now?
Because there's so much new Jaws stuff coming. Like, did you see the Lego set?
I was just about to say that.
Go ahead, Max, because they had a pretty good tagline on
Yeah.
that. So
I think we need a bigger shelf.
we're
or
going to need a
whatever.
bigger
Yeah, we're
shelf.
going to need a bigger shelf.
That's so cute.
Well,
That's
I don't know if you can appreciate how scary that movie was when we were a kid. I mean, you did not want to go in the water.
It
I
closed
bet.
Florida for like 3 years.
That's scary.
It really was. I mean,
Talk about some place that might want to revisit that.
And it didn't take place in
Yeah.
Florida. It took
We need
place
another
in...
Jaws movie, I think.
Yeah.
can we even have another one of those? Because, like you said, the air tank, the whole whatever, and
Oh, there's so many
being forced to
workarounds.
use less special effects too because they didn't work. So.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, when he was talking about that, it made me think that I think a lot of movie makers are starting to learn this, and I hope that M. Night will learn this, is, like you said, the twist isn't what is bringing people to your movie. And I think especially nowadays, with the amount of content that is being made by people, the idea that your twist is going to be something that I haven't seen before or couldn't have guessed because of just experiencing life
Yeah.
is pretty slim to none. But if your cast is really well done and everything else is well done and that is selling me the movie, then like that is more than enough.
Yeah.
Make me care.
Yeah.
That is the real secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I don't care how well it's done, don't care how much you spent on those special effects, if I honestly do not care about the fate of that character,
then
it's not going to happen.
Nope.
All right. Well, it comes out next month? So it's coming out in a few weeks.
Yeah, even if my caring is that I want them to be harmed. I don't have an emotion.
I want to
about
see bad things happen. To
I want to
Swiftie.
watch that shark blow up. Yep.
All right. Well, we'll follow the progress, but you guys, we got to get out of here. The show's over. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Alan Gilbreth.
I'm Maximilian.
I'm Melissa Diggs.
And I'm Brandon Olmstead, still thinking about that Jaws Lego set. Look it up.